Hello everyone. Not quite the way that we wanted to sign off 2025 here at Old Trafford tonight. We've recorded a podcast, an old school one with the lads. Here they are, looking as miserable as I feel. You can smile a little bit.
It was a 1-1 draw. They didn't lose. And they lost home and away to Wolves last season. I can't believe I'm saying this.
Yeah, a modicum of progress.
That's a stinking result tonight. We can't dress it up any other way. It's a bad result.
You're getting the theme of the podcast already, aren't you, to be fair? There won't be a video on YouTube again. It will be the same as the last couple have been because of the Christmas holidays and us trying to get these out as quickly as possible after the matches. But if you can, enjoy it as always. Is there a reason to enjoy it, Critch?
Yes, but you'll have to listen to find out.
And if you don't carry on listening after that... I don't know what you'll stay for.
Andy gives an incredible rabble-rousing speech ahead of facing Leeds in January that you have to listen for. Get right to the end. It is one of a kind. You'll be ready to run through a brick wall when you hear this. I promise you.
You've even given that the big build-up, Carl. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it, despite the result, despite the circumstances, and from us all, Happy New Year. Let's get into it. This is Talk of the Devils, the athletics show dedicated to Manchester United. We are back in the Old Trafford press box minutes after the match has finished against Wolves. It was a drab draw, wasn't it, just to see out 2025 for Manchester United. It has certainly not been the best of years, but a new one will begin with Leeds away as Elland Road awaits at the weekend. We'll look ahead to that once we pick the bones out of Manchester United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Carl Anker's just finishing off with the press conferences. I've got Andy and Critch alongside me. Just very disappointing, Andy, but not that surprising in some ways.
It's not. A couple of factors. United were missing a lot of players, but so were Wolves. We've seen how unconvincing Manchester United have been. I've just asked the manager about this, especially at home. 1 win in 5 now. The only team that United beat at home were the highest placed team. So United are struggling. And he replied and said each of those games was very different. And I take his point. But it is worrying.
It's a pattern though, isn't it?
It's a pattern. And I'm not stunned that Wolves got a result. Also, they've been losing narrowly against some good teams. And I just knew that equaliser was coming. It was the same as at Molineux. United just, the performance level just dips within games. They're so inconsistent within games and have been all season. Incapable. I think that's the 6th time that Manchester United have taken the lead and not won the match. Wolves' record is atrocious. There's 2 points, 3 now, after that. So it is a really, really, really poor result. And it frustrates me more because United would have gone 4th with a win tonight.
Again.
But they can't do it, can they? This has been a repeat pattern all season. Just as we feel like we're getting close. And the mood was good outside the ground tonight. Probably because we could have gone 4th if we would have won. Other results have gone our way again. And yet, United have got 30 points at the halfway point in the season. So if you're going to double it up, we've played Wolves twice, they're the weakest team, you're getting 60. 60 points last year will get you 8th or 9th. That is not going to be good enough. So we're talking about we could be getting to 4th, but there is a pattern of teams coming here. You knew Wolves were going to be defensive. I was concerned about Manchester United's tactics. I don't even know what they were. I just said to Critch, and we'll talk about this, what was Manchester United's formation tonight? Because I started making my notes. 3 at the back. No, it's a 4. Wait a minute. I'm confused. Now, I'm not a player, but I felt that game could have gone on for 4 hours and Manchester United would still not have won it. And then I think, well, Newcastle United deserve something from the last game. So is this life of a team that's 6th and 7th? Does it just balance itself out? When you're least expecting it, Manchester United go and win at Palace or go and play very well at Villa but don't win. Is this just the reality? We've been saying it all season. And if we get to the end of the season and Manchester United are in Europe next season, then we'll say, yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster, a lot of disappointments, the stats aren't great, but we've done it. But if United do not get into Europe next season, that is a major failure, because it will affect the recruitment, it'll affect the revenues, it'll affect everything. It'll affect the size of the squad, because you won't need enough players. And you should be beating the bottom of the league team, by a distance, a team that United put 4 past a few weeks ago away from home. And I get that Wolves, it's easier for them to play away. There's less pressure. But that's a terrible result tonight. And the performance wasn't much better.
No, I think you've summed up most of the points in there, to be honest, Andy.
Sorry.
It's the whole podcast.
I feel better. I hope you do. But no, I think there's a lot of Manchester United fans who will be wanting to rant after watching that. I mean, there is mitigation. I'm going early on it in the second question, but we are, 4 minutes into the podcast, Andy.
I'll be quiet now.
There is mitigation because so many players were missing. Any Premier League side is going to miss players of the quality of Bruno Fernandes, Amad Diallo, Brian Mbeumo. They're just the attacking players that are missing. Mason Mount as well. But there still should be enough quality on that pitch, Critch, to win that game, shouldn't there?
Yes. I'm thinking back to when I was sat on this exact spot 4 days ago, and I said that any credible team in this league sticks 4, 5, 6 past Wolves.
I thought that was optimistic at the time, but 2 would have been nice.
I regretted it when I said it, and I certainly regret it now. I did say that night in that point that I thought they played a bit more open, and they surely wouldn't play that open again, and that they would learn the lessons. And I think we saw that. And it was one of those nights tonight where, and there's been several of them this season, where you half expect what is about to come from the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of the game. Andy's mentioned the word patterns a lot tonight. I think the patterns is the thing. It's becoming a pattern now where this United team, I feel like I've said this season after season after season, but they struggle when they're challenged to be protagonists within a game. When it's on them to play on the front foot, to make things happen rather than to react to the space that the opposition are giving up, they struggle. I think that goes to some extent to explain why the previous 3 games we were all there was a lot of optimism about the performances, right? I know maybe people thought we were a little bit negative after Newcastle, but there was things in those performances that you could look at and take something from. I think it was because Bournemouth, Villa, Newcastle, they're all intense teams. They were all willing to go toe-to-toe with United. Wolves weren't prepared to do that tonight. Everton weren't prepared to do that when they went down to 10 men. West Ham weren't prepared to do that. That's the pattern. That's the trend. And I was just chatting to Andy there just before we came on about, roller coasters and the front cover of United We Stand this month even. Sorry. And roller coasters is it, but I associate roller coasters with being in like title challenges and having nip and tuck and back and forth and something exciting. This isn't that sort of roller coaster. What did you describe it as? A mini coaster?
A child's roller coaster. One of them ones where you have like a head height, and if you're over 6,
yeah.
Well, the ghost train that's not scary.
Yeah.
The other thing about roller coasters is that you end up back where you started at the end of them. And we're here after another game, and United are in 6th again, and it's another missed opportunity. And that's why I'm starting to feel that, yes, it is a roller coaster, because we keep coming back to the same point and getting on the train again and expecting something different and not getting it. It's disappointing, obviously.
Your 2 answers have taken that long. Carl Anker's out of the press conferences now, so hello, Carl. I've just read your message here. It's not even a message, it's a post. Manchester United's 2025, 13 wins, 11 draws, 14 losses. So more defeats than wins in the calendar year. So tonight was an opportunity to at least level that out. It's just a continuation of a theme. It's the roller coaster going back to the start again.
Truly. A long, drab, uninspiring 90 minutes to sum up. A long, drab, and largely uninspiring 12 months of Manchester United football. I'm sorry, fans, listening to this one. It's not been a great 2025. I had written about 300 words before the game kicked off about how maybe there's green shoots and we can put this all to bed, and 2026 was going to be better. And then Zirkzee scored, and I was going to write about how Zirkzee's got a big 2026 ahead of him, and then they equalised, and you're like, oh, not again. And I've sat next to Andy a lot this year, and I've heard him go, "Oh, not again!" quite a bit this year. I have heard all of your sighs of frustration, and all you listeners have heard all my many sound effects of just. Because sometimes this is miserable, isn't it? This is why I don't think Man United can finish in the Champions League. If you miss this many opportunities to finish in the top 8 positions at the end of a weekend, isn't that just your standard? Just not Champions League quality?
And I think if tonight was in isolation, you could say, right, well, he's missing and he's missing and he's missing. Like I was saying before, that there's mitigating circumstances for this performance. But it feels like we've seen this performance many times before, and it also feels like any team that comes here, sits back, defends deep, low block, asks Manchester United to break them down, asks United to be the protagonist, like we were saying before. They continue to struggle with this. Let's go back to the formation. So you said you were struggling to work it out. I mean, they certainly started, it looked like, with a 3-4-3.
Yeah.
Changed to 4-2-3-1 at half-time. Yeah. But why do you think he went back to 3-4-3 tonight? Because I'm reading through the responses and emails and comments and everything else we've had tonight. So many people are asking why the formation changed again.
I just don't have a clue. To the first point that you were making then, I've just asked him that because I can see these repeat patterns that you're saying. His answers are that good that you come out of it thinking, yeah, he's got a point there. And you hate yourself for it because you know it's absolutely bobbins.
Has he got a point?
Well, he has a point in so much as the circumstances for each game are completely different. But it just tires a bit when it's 1 win in 5. The point he said back to me was he doesn't feel the players are feeling the pressure at Old Trafford like last year, which I think is fair enough. I thought United fans were all right tonight. I thought Wolves fans were very good, actually, because they come here with nothing to lose and you're telling me we've got a chance. You can see that's just the basic psychology of it. But a lot of Manchester United fans form their opinions, match-going fans, of what they watch at Old Trafford. They buy the season ticket. These are the games they're paying the money to see. They're not at Crystal Palace away.
They can't get a ticket.
They can't get a ticket, and they're not there anyway. For the vast majority of people, they only go to the home games. And I thought they'd turned a corner at the start of this season with the home form, because after the Arsenal win, there was a good run of games, and Burnley Arsenal defeat.
You sound like Eric Ten Hag.
Yeah.
That's how you know Amorim's got you. He keeps bringing up that Arsenal defeat so well that you forget it was a defeat.
They did play well, though.
Yeah.
I get really annoyed when he keeps doing that. And like, you shouldn't brag to me about something that you lost. Don't brag about something that someone else did better, was one my mum always told me. Anyway, Andy.
After that Arsenal defeat, United did beat Brighton and Chelsea and Sunderland, but it's been bobbing since. Burnley.
I had a Fortress Old Trafford article in the books. Yeah. I was ready to do it. The idea was pitched. Let's go.
Was it never published?
And then the Everton game happens.
Yeah. And, teams averaging 10 men. Teams are coming here with 2 points.
It's like Sandcastle Old Trafford, and that naughty kid comes along and tramples all over it.
I'm sick of these stats where you come up against teams and you say, right, we're playing so-and-so this weekend. They've won 1 game in 4 years. And then Manchester United fail to beat them. I don't... Carl says United will finish 8th. I do think United will finish in the top 6. Because United are 6. After at the halfway point, United are 6.
There are teams playing on New Year's Day, though, who could take them over.
Yeah, I think there needs to be an upturn. And I think there will be an upturn because you're missing your best player tonight and you're missing key players in AFCON. But they sound like weak excuses. Wolves had 2 points.
Well, Wolves were historically, and probably still are, on course to be historically the worst Premier League side ever in terms of their points total. There is a point in that they were making it more and more difficult for teams, and United, I don't know why we all did it, but a lot of us said, well, it's only Wolves when they won 4-1 away at Molineux, and then they ran Arsenal extremely close, made Liverpool nervous, but those 2 teams did win, and that's the point, isn't it?
That 4-1 win may have changed Rob Edwards' approach in that in what I've managed to see from the Arsenal and Liverpool games, they're nowhere near as open in the second half of games as they were at Molineux. Speaking to some of the Wolves reporters today at Old Trafford, and they were explaining the difference about how the Molineux crowd now really, really gets on players. Strand Larsen just doesn't look the same player because the fans aren't really having him after the links to Newcastle as well. So perhaps it's easier for them to play away from home, as Andy said.
There was a protest that night at Molineux, wasn't there? He came in late for the United game.
Every time they have a home game, there's a protest at Molineux. So without that, it's different. I think Rob Edwards has changed things just a little bit in the approach. But also, like you said, this is a historically bad Wolves team. They're going to go down with Derby County, Sheffield United, Southampton. They reek. Jackie Oatley on Sunday Supplement said they are beyond abysmal. And yet I've just sat in that press conference now, and Ruben Amorim said we've reverted back to a 3-4-3 because he wanted to match the shape of Wolves. And yes, okay, in the room, I'm going, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you very much, Ruben Amorim. But also part of me is going, wait, why are you trying to match a historically bad team? Why are you trying to negate their strengths? They don't have any. What are you doing? But, you keep going through the press conference and he explains further reasons. You're like, oh, yeah, I see. Actually, yeah, tactical reasons for removing Joshua Zirkzee. That kind of makes sense. And then you got the chattering part of your brain going, no, but they're Wolves. They're horrible. Not like horrible in the way they were really annoying for Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. These are like, they reek. What are we doing?
What did you think of the Zirkzee substitution? He explained it in the press conference and in the interviews as well. It was a tactical decision. There's definitely no injury there.
I think that he didn't perhaps do enough to take the opportunity that he got, so I can understand it on that front. I noted that there was a little bit of applause almost when his name got read out as being brought off when Jack Fletcher came on. Now maybe that was for Jack Fletcher coming on. I can see why an academy youngster like that getting an opportunity, fans would appreciate that. But I mean, Zirkzee's performance on Boxing Day as well, I think factors into it.
I was surprised he started actually, considering the way that substitution went.
Amorim was talking to Sky before and he was asked about Zirkzee coming into the team, and he made a point of saying, well, he has everything, but he needs to win his duels, but he has everything else. And winning his duels, it's challenging for a header the other night when United needed somebody to hold the ball up. He just wasn't doing it, and I thought it was interesting that he noted that in terms of his explanation. Now, he had a very different role tonight and didn't really have to do that. United weren't playing as long. It's a strange situation where a player scores a goal and then gets brought off at half time for tactical reasons, but it sort of sums up the United career of Joshua Zirkzee at the minute, where he gets his first goal at Old Trafford in the league for more than a year. I think it's that 4-0 Everton game, December last year. It's supposed to be a good night for him, but actually you wouldn't say that he did his cause that much at all in his performance, and so can't really have too many complaints either.
Yeah, I heard him say, Ruben Amorim, in some of the interviews afterwards, he felt that United weren't pressing high enough to win the ball back. He didn't feel that they were doing enough in those attacking positions, and that's why he changed. I mean, the formation change maybe played into it as well, but when you are looking for a goal against a team who have conceded so many goals this season, and you've got a lot of young players on that bench, and I don't want to analyse their performances too much, but they're not young players who have made a big impact in their appearances so far. Maybe understandably, considering the way that the games have gone and the situation of the team as well, and the pressure that's on them as well. The expectation on Jack Fletcher coming out for the second half, trying to find a solution to Manchester United's problems. But it did feel like that was a major roll of the dice that just didn't go in Amorim's favour.
So you need your more experienced players to step up on nights like tonight, because it's really difficult for them young players, and you can feel the crowd wishing them well. There were a couple of mistakes by some of the younger players, and they weren't jeered, or they weren't the same sounds as if a more experienced player had make them. And so you look at the more experienced players and what they're doing. Try and find any positives from tonight. Sesko, he really needs a goal. He's getting in the right positions. He's heading on target, but the goalkeeper's saving him quite easily. The goalkeeper looks good, but we're just sort of walking around the bottom of a barrel here, aren't we? And
I didn't even think their keeper did look that good, actually, especially from corners.
No, our keeper.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah.
So listen, when Andy just mentioned Sesko, three of us just all did like a wincing face, like someone's put vinegar in our top. We're like, too many 6 out of 10 performances in too many weeks.
The other thing as well, like he's just mentioned, on a night like tonight, when so many players are missing, you're looking at Mateus Cunha and you're looking at Benjamin Sesko as two players who are potentially first-choice footballers in this Manchester United team, to just sort it out.
Yes. The second half in particular, it really felt like the referee felt like he wanted to let it flow. There were a lot of shoulder barges, a lot of hands round shoulders wrapping each other up, and the referee was just wielding play on. And you're like, okay, one of you just... You're not going to get free kicks here. Stop trying to win free kicks and trying to win fouls. And he just actually move the ball a bit quicker. There were 2 or 3 times Casemiro had the ball. He sort of, I'm not even going to say dribbling. He's just sort of like ambling with the ball past the centre circle. And I'm going, move the ball. The ball moves quicker than you. And he's not, the urgency is coming from Wolves. And there was a 10-15 minute period in that second half where Wolves were winning more than 50-50. So you go, you cannot be doing this. You have to remember how bad this Wolves team are. Like, get a move on. Sesko, before the, I want to say, attempt from Dorgu, he gets the ball and he's square on with his defender and he just sort of runs towards him and you're going, shift your feet, shift the ball, and he just sort of collides with him and you're like, no, come on, you have to show more guile here. He's not going to magically move out of the way and make this too easy for you. They are bad, but they do kind of have to play football. It just felt really accidental football.
Disjointed.
Yeah, sort of, I'm going to walk forward and then if someone presents himself, I might make a pass left or right. Not a real... Amorim's bemoaned the lack of fluidity and quality, and I absolutely get that. There is also the other annoying part of my brain where I'm going, okay, could you have not got a little bit more fluidity by going back to that back four that we saw against Bournemouth, that we saw against Newcastle there? Is that a better way? Of course, it's always really hard to throw in your academy players. Could you not make their job easier by going back to a back four, which they might be a little bit more comfortable with?
Well, also, I suppose the argument he would make would be that formation worked so well against Wolves last time, and that's the thing. You can make arguments, but at the same time, you can also make criticisms. Just looking at the list of things to talk about here, Critch, it's not a glowing list, to be honest. But
what delights have you got for me
here? There are no delights, and that's kind of the point, that it just felt like the sort of night where United didn't need to be at their best to win. They just needed to win. They just needed to tick it off. And that's how you end up being a team who can be relied upon more. And that's what it felt like the Newcastle result was. And I think that's why tonight feels more deflating, was because obviously it's a Wolves team that should be beaten anyway. But the Newcastle game provided that glimpse of a team just getting the job done, and they just didn't do that again.
Like Selhurst Park before, after the Everton game, where they go and they get a result at a place that we weren't expecting. Palace were 11, unbeaten at home, and United win. It's a nip and tuck, it's hard fought, but they do it, and we think this is a launch pad for something else, and it doesn't happen. And we've been talking, missed opportunities. The thing is, week on week we've been talking about this is a missed opportunity, this is a missed opportunity. This whole stretch of games after the November international break, going up to Elland Road on Sunday and then Turf Moor after that before the derby, this was the opportunity. This was the stretch of games where you said United have probably got one of the more favourable runs of fixtures in the league. They could take, if they take 20 out of 30 points from those, I think it's 10 games, 20 out of 30 points, you're looking at a team that's then really challenging for Champions League, top 4, top 5. I think, what is it now? I think it's 11 points from that run, I think, so far with 2 games left to go. And Elland Road's going to be horrible, I think, on Sunday. And on that performance, you wouldn't trust them to get much out of it. Turf Moor, I'm not even sure about that anymore, as bad as Burnley are. That's the opportunity. You look at a team like Villa, I know I was giving them some stick and then saying they weren't all that, and then they went and beat United, and they've lost tonight though, haven't they? So I think I'm going to take the win on that, actually. But
you have to take wins now on other teams losing elsewhere, because you can't trust United to do it.
Yeah. But the thing about Villa is, right, I think that shows, like, whether they're any good or not, if you put a string of wins together, they're probably guaranteed at least Europa League football now, probably Champions League. They'll probably get it, right? I still don't think they're all that, but they've got the points on the board. They've secured that. They've emerged out of this flawed pack in the middle of the Premier League, where there's so many teams that have issues, but they look good one weekend, not the other. United are in that, and this period, I think, was the opportunity to get out of that, this whole period, and that's been missed.
So what you're telling me is there's a chance in the second half of the season, like Andy Mitten mentioned before, that they can put a bit of form together, they can put a run together, and they can make Europe. But at the same time, there's been that many missed opportunities, they're in danger of making the entire season a missed opportunity. And this is the halfway point now. The patterns are established.
the patterns are established. You know, Carl was saying I want to make a proper judgment after 10 games. We're now at the halfway point. I would not be surprised if we're here in May going, could have gone 4th today and we finished 6th. There has to be a cut-off point. The season has to end after 38 games. And I think it is a pass or a fail if you get into Europe or not, for the reasons that I've given. Go on, Carl.
Can we be specific here? Are you looking for Champions League football?
This is where it gets a little bit tricky, because Conference League football, you know, there's teams in there.
Excites Andrew
No.
Mitten.
I'm looking at it from a football perspective. There's like teams which are like League One standard playing, but economically, even if Manchester United are playing like FC Bag of Spanners, there'll still be 70,000 here with the revenues. Look, Conference League football ain't going to be great, but Europa League, I think, is a respected competition, and I think United should be going for that Europa League. If it's Champions League, then that would mean getting a run of wins together, and United simply can't do that. They can't do it. Not doing it once this season.
So you don't think? So to be clear, we talk about the Andy Mitten standard of quality. All right, Andy Mitten's benchmark for 2026, the second half of the season is: are there going to be a Champions League team? Yes or no?
I'd say the Europa League is more probable, because there are teams in the top 3 or 4. There's that team who Everton's neighbours, they've started winning again now.
Tranmere.
Aye.
Yeah. From this point, actually, I think there'd be a satisfaction with claiming the Europa League, because I think a lot of the frustration is born out of the fact they're not taking the opportunity to climb the table more. The Champions League feels like something that's even doable now, but there's still a lot of teams not that far behind, Critch, and that's the concern, is that if you continue to miss the opportunities to jump up, the teams below you are going to take the opportunity to jump above you.
I was looking at the table today, and I think Brentford were one place behind United. I was like, I thought they were in a relegation. I was on podcasts where people were asking me about they're in a relegation battle 3 weeks ago.
I thought they were dead and buried at the start of the season, having lost Thomas Frank and Mbumo and Wisser and Norgard, etc.
But there's people on your shoulder. This is it, and this is with the squash middle in the league. It's so difficult, and that's why the opportunities the missed opportunities the last few weeks are so difficult to take. I think I would like to know, what was the Andy Mitten standard of approval like 10 years ago? Was it still a trophy and Champions League, or top 4 in a trophy, or what? Can we chart Manchester United's relative decline, in air quotes, over how that bar has been lowered over the last decade? Yeah,
you can. Well, I'll wind back 10 years. Jose Mourinho was brought in to win the league, and he didn't win the league. So that season started, Guardiola joined at City, don't know how he went on. Mourinho came to United. I've never had as much interest from international journalists that summer as in my entire time covering Manchester United, because it was Guardiola against Mourinho, and 4 games in, it was clear that City would have the edge on that. For a long time, and Carl sort of jokes about it, it's top 4 and a trophy, top 4 and a trophy. The bar has been lowered significantly this year because of that 15th last year. We're all annoyed now, we're frustrated because it's been a really bad night here, but there has been an improvement this year.
That's true.
How much of an improvement, Andy? This was going to be my next conversation point, really, to try and look ahead to 2026, try and bring some element of positivity, try and give people a reason to listen to this a little bit longer. I mean, how much progress do you feel is being made now?
8 points. That's a fact. After 19 games, United have got 8 more points, and it should have been 10 after tonight. The team are scoring more goals, but worryingly are conceding a lot more goals as well. It keeps us proper engaged, this, and I hear people saying the league's terrible, we could be streaking away. Actually, the league's brilliant. The league is that unpredictable that there's jeopardy every single week. You can just look at the results every single week. There's a reason this league is so highly regarded around the world. Is because Wolves can get a point at Manchester United. It drives me crazy. That I think it's just going to go on like this, but it's a failure in other parts because Ruben Amorim has had a week to prepare for most of the games. The teams we're coming up against have not had a week. Up until recently, the injuries have not been too heavy, And he's now starting to build up a body of work. You know, he's played Wolves 4 times now since he became manager, and he's won 1 of the games. So the statistics, which we started the show with Carl saying after a year, they're really, really bad. So there needs to be that improvement. And getting Europe for next year, that's the start. But then we're thinking new players will come in, which they will do. And I do have faith in the recruitment. I do think there will be an improvement. We've got to get Europe. I'm sounding like a stuck record here. But if you're finishing 9th or something and not getting into Europe, that is a failure. I don't think the fans would buy that. I think the fans will want to change the manager. I really do.
I think the fans are trying to find anything to get behind Critch as well, aren't they? So, and again, I go back to, I was listening to a City fan today say, why do you think Manchester United fans sing Ruben Amorim's name? I said, well, first of all, he's the head coach of the team. I said, so there will always be a support for the head coach of the team as a base point. So, but also, there has been things in recent weeks, even if results haven't been that good, that has given them reason to be a little bit optimistic again, to inject things, to inject a little bit of optimism into the fan base. But it does feel like you have to look for it still.
I think the end of last season, when you had the Europa League campaign going on, and you had the Premier League campaign, and the Premier League, it'd be 1-0 defeat, wouldn't look like scoring, wouldn't look like winning.
Against Wolves.
Against Wolves. And a few others as well.
That was our last away win. Oh, it still is their last away win in the Premier League at Old Trafford last season.
I can believe that. At that point, you compare then to now, it is different. I think there has been improvement. I think if you're asking one thing for people to pick out, it's usually the attack. That's what it's been over the last few weeks. And there have been games, there have been moments in games where it's felt like there's something coming together. United can, when they put 4 past Wolves, when they scored 4 against Bournemouth, even though they didn't win, even that night, the atmosphere that night when Cunha put them 4-3 up, it felt like there was still something to cling to and something to... And I think there still is. But on the other hand, I'm talking about the attack like it's improved greatly, and then I'm thinking, tonight, again, could have played till 2 a.m. or whatever. I don't think they would have won the game. Could have said the same against West Ham. Could have said the same against Everton. So it's particular situations. Maybe in the aggregate, the attack's better. Maybe they're scoring more goals. But in its particular situations, they fall short. And it repeatedly keeps happening. And so I'm trying to give you a positive, and I've ended up drawing back on it, turning it back into a negative. I'm starting to feel... I'm trying to... Look, Carl talks about Debbie Downers sometimes on this podcast and positive Pollies. I'm trying to be stable Mabel here. I'm trying to just remember and not say 6th, 7th, 8th too much, but try and remember that, because I think it's all part of this big picture. And through the swings of the results over the last few weeks, I've not really changed on that. But it's difficult on nights like tonight when the opportunity's there. The attack, we say it's improved. You expect them to blow past a team like Wolves, and they don't. And so it leaves those question marks again, even over the things that you feel a little bit more optimistic about.
Which one of those 3 personas are you, Carl?
I think I'm a Debbie Downer, unfortunately. This is hard. In that, yes, I think United have improved towards the end of the calendar year 2025. They've won more games this season now on their own than they won entirely on their own last season. They've scored more goals, and he's also pointed out they're conceding more goals. The tricky bit for me is money insulates. Manchester United, with all their money, with all the money they can spend on wages, all the players they can buy, because they're Manchester United, because of the history, because of the stadium, because of all the magic and otherness of Manchester United, you have to be exceptionally clumsy to finish below 8th. And that's why last season was weird, because a bomb went off, and you're going, we've never seen this before. It was unprecedented for a team with that much money to be that bad in such a bizarre way, and also for that manager to not be removed. And then this season, or this talk, or pre-season, has always been about just re-establishing that baseline and figuring out where that standard is. And I'm sure if one of us managed to get a phone call to Mourinho, or to Van Gaal, or to Ten Hag, and went, what do you think about Manchester United right now? One of them, probably Mourinho, would go, I have no idea how this man has survived. You killed me for a lot worse than this. But this is just the situation we're in. So Jim Ratcliffe said he's got no real appetite for removing Aaron. So we're going to wait for United to get to that 8th-ish, 6th to 8th region where all the money will insulate you, and then you can get to this January, you can get to the summer, and you can spend 65 million on a midfield player, and then maybe you can get a bit better because other teams can't buy 65 million pound players, and teams like Bournemouth are about to lose their 65 million pound player to someone else. So we might have I needed a crouch there. I thought it was going to give me some transfer stuff.
No, that 65 million pound player would have probably come to Manchester United 12 years ago over any of the other suitors. And now he will choose to go to Manchester City because Manchester United are less attractive, cannot pay the same wages. If he's saying, I want to have a genuine shot of a league title or a European trophy this year, there are better options for him, sadly. But that is the reality. This is what happens when you drop down, when you go out of Europe. You can't be sitting to a player and going, and we're still in the Champions League, because we're not.
This is the other thing with Amorim. Sorry to interrupt you. Like, the bar has dropped, the level has dropped, and the Manchester United that he's trying to put together feels like it's from a much lower base than Jose Mourinho, than Louis van Gaal. Maybe there's an argument to be made that he's making that harder than it needs to be, and obviously the quotes came out, was it yesterday, from the press conference after the game the other night against Newcastle, where he explained that he's changing formation now because he feels the players are now finally ready, that they'll remember all the work that they've done, the previous ways to play, the principles are the same, the founding principles of Manchester United under Ruben Amorim he believes are in place now. It's probably why he felt comfortable going back to a 3-4-3 tonight from the start, why he felt it was okay then to change to 4-2-3-1 or variations thereof, either of those two formations during the game. I can't even remember what my original point was, but it's the fact that this job is not easy, and they've not been patient maybe in the past when people have wanted it. Perhaps they've been too patient in the past at times with other people, but in this moment it does feel like there needs to be patience. It's just hard to have it when it's not completely clear what's going to transpire.
It is hard, and the whole environment around the club is too emotional. When you see people like Carlo Ancelotti saying to Ole Solskjaer, I'd never take that job, it's pretty telling that. But then that comes with being absolutely massive. If I'm trying to be positive, the club feel like they're building a solid foundation. You can see the profile of the players. There's lots of young players there. I think the players who've come in, okay, I'm having them. Still think we're 2 years off seeing what will look like the idealised Ruben Amorim team. You know, how good is Patrick Dorgu going to be? We've seen glimpses in the last week. Aidan Heaven, how good are these players going to be? We've no idea how good Jack Fletcher's going to be. Lenny Yoro, he's had a wobbly couple of months, but at the start of the season we're thinking this lad looks like a generational talent. And then keep on bringing, you know, the six is a priority for next season. You've got to assume rather than hope that Benjamin Sesko's quality is going to shine.
He really needs a goal now, doesn't he?
He needs a few goals.
Of things you've just said there, and you've used the word wobbly, and how can it be a solid foundation when all these things need to get right?
Because these are young lads coming into the toughest league in the world. So say if you're Patrick Dorgu, and I might be talking from a position of weakness here, it's difficult, and you can't go for the top tier talent as much as you used to be able to. There's a financial realism as well. Manchester United are not as attractive. The club are adamant they're not going to be breaking pay structures. You're not seeing any of this like we're going to have Ronaldo, and it has completely changed. And I get the logic in that. People have different opinions, but I understand the logic in that. You know, a 23-year-old goalkeeper, the younger players, and I hope it works out. We've tried almost every other method, and that probably leads into what Ian's saying is, why is this happening? Because we've been really patient and supportive with the manager. He simply wouldn't have survived at other major clubs, but then they've not had the unique set of circumstances applicable here.
The thing about that as well is that in the past, in the transfer market, we've asked them to sign younger players, cheaper players, to look for players that other top clubs won't be going for, and that's what they're doing now. We've asked before, when Ten Hag was here, when Ollie was here, we were asking for a manager to come in with a set, defined style, system, philosophy, a style of play. And so they've got that as well. And then your point about patience there, we've said they can't keep chopping and changing managers. There was the appetite for Ten Hag to go. I feel like, you know, when he won that FA Cup, people really wanted him to stay and succeed because they were sick of sacking managers. And they've shown patience to a guy who's finished 15th. So in a lot of ways, they're doing what people have asked for, but it's almost the story of this club over the last 10 years that as soon as I don't know how to really describe it, but
the story about the monkey paw, where you make a wish for something and it comes out, but not the way you want. So I'm sure, so what? We went maybe the better part of 7 years hearing all these rumours of, is Cristiano Ronaldo going to return back to Manchester United? And it happened, and a monkey paw curl, and he turned up, and then the dressing room seemed to have imploded, and it was we'd really like a manager with a set style of playing who isn't going to change despite external pressure. And the monkey paw was curl, and it's wing backs.
You know what though? The style, the Manchester United way, whatever you want to call it, is winning.
Yes,
it's winning.
Yes.
That's the style. That's the set
it's not
style.
really a style though, is it?
But it never has been, has it?
No.
Maybe it's wing. Okay. The traditionists will say it's front foot football. It's playing with youth and bravery. It's playing with wide wingers, attacking play, hurting teams. Yes. This stadium still loves a huge tackle as much as a beautiful assist or brilliant finish as well. There's still a working class core to a lot of the people who come here and want that great determination and fight from a team. But ultimately, the style of this club is winning.
And we've not won enough this year. And yet there's no appetite from upstairs to remove the manager's head coach, I should say, which is, it's very surreal, isn't it? You said just earlier, this is a time for patience. And yet an outsider, an Arsenal fan, an Aston Villa fan go, really?
Well, an Arsenal fan should understand it for a start.
Good point. This is the surreal time of Manchester. It's such a weird year covering this football club. I did the end of season review, and they're asking me questions like best goal. I'm like, I barely remember any.
End of year review.
End of year review. I'm like, best goal. I'm like, I barely remember. Did we score many great goals? I can remember some pretty good ones we've conceded, unfortunately.
What did you pick?
I think I changed it at the last minute for Dorgu's little one against Newcastle. I have no idea. See, my brain goes blank now. I would really like, let's just put this all, hopefully, Ruben Amorim put last season on the water under the bridge. I would like to put this calendar year done, dusted. Yeah. We know the next couple of games are going to be really, really hard, at least until the AFCON trio returns, and then maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, touch on wood, being able to unlock deep defences comes good, and United will be better than what they were last season, if only because last season was so horribly bad. You'll do it by default, and one day I'll be able to say you're going to get better for other reasons. But yeah, okay, this 20 for 25, good riddance.
Okay, so 2025's in the bin. Let's look ahead to 2026. And Critch, it starts with the small matter of Manchester United versus Leeds United, the Battle of the Roses at Elland Road. Yeah?
Yeah. Like I said, it's going to be horrible.
Come on, give us more than that.
It's going to be grim, rancid, tough. It's going to be tough. It's what are Leeds there? I think they're 5 unbeaten. Dominic Calvert-Lewin scoring for fun. Have you seen his shot map, by the way? This parallel line between the goal and the penalty spot. I know United are changing formation a lot. Maybe they should play a 1-1-1-1, 1-1-1-1-1, just to block off that space.
Well, 3 at the back puts the central defender right in the way, doesn't it?
I suppose, but have you not seen this? They go all the way up to the penalty spot. We need bodies in there. It's going to be tough. I think I've been to one United Leeds game at Elland Road in 2022, which I think was the first one in front of fans in the league since Leeds got relegated almost 20 years before that. It was like, it's Kevin Costner film Waterworld. It was like biblical rain, absolutely minging. I was soaked down. Harry Maguire scored a header. United won 4-2, I think. That was the type of occasion that I'm expecting. And look, Leeds, they're in good form. I think this game is a lot harder for United than it was going to be a month ago. I actually sort of came in today thinking that United were in a better place than they would have been a month ago to deal with it, and after tonight I'm sort of question that. But
Leeds have been good at Elland Road for the majority of this season, to be honest. They've not had many off days. I've done a few of the matches there, and it was very deliberate what the club did last summer. It was to buy big, it was to buy players with real physicality, to be strong at set pieces. Every single signing I think was over 6 foot. Obviously Calvert-Lewin amongst them. Obviously it's a game that we look forward to as a fan base. Leeds really do hate Man U, as they call Manchester United, which we've debated on this podcast. previously. I mean, there's real history and blood between these two teams and two areas. They just need to show up with genuine fight and match that intensity that Leeds going to bring, and that's the route to getting points out of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, manual, that's what they call us. It'll be the best or worst atmosphere of the season. It will be visceral, it will be real. They will be buoyed by their recent form. They've beaten Chelsea well, they've beaten Palace well. I think the last defeat was at City, 3-2. They got a draw at Sunderland the other day. They held Liverpool at home. They're the real deal.
They've got to play Liverpool at Anfield between tonight, us recording this, and United playing them. Does it help that it's an early kickoff for United in terms of that atmosphere maybe being a bit quieter because it's lunchtime and not in the evening?
What, 35,000 Yorkshire men and ladies going in the pub all day? Yeah, I suppose it is a factor as opposed to him having to get up early.
It always used to be an early kick-off, didn't it, because of policing, to be fair.
Yeah, and policing because of the trouble, and I've been going long enough to see the trouble there, to experience the trouble there, to be on the floor because of the trouble there.
Is this where you got lamped?
Yeah, I did. Don't know why I'm laughing at it. I wasn't laughing at the time. I would prefer to wake up on January the 4th with the prospect of Manchester United playing Leeds United than many of the other teams in the Premier League. These are the games that we live for. Manchester United have got a very good record against Leeds United. I think some of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best performances came against Bielsa's Leeds United. And even that last visit to Elland Road where Harry Maguire, do you remember he superimposed a picture of one of his friends? Because Harry's from Sheffield, which is in Yorkshire, and the other side of the Pennines, and for people not familiar, that's the hills which separate Manchester and Leeds. It's only like a 45-minute drive from here. It's a huge rivalry. These are two. It's more than football. It's social. You said the War of the Roses. It was cotton against wool. This goes back absolute centuries, and is played out in the form of a football game. But I will be worried going there, because I just haven't got a clue what to expect from Manchester United. But, and it's a massive but, whenever I felt like this season, United have won. Anfield, Palace. So just when you think it's all falling apart, they win. And just when you think, got to beat Wolves, right, sweet, going to go fourth, they don't win. It drives me mad. But we are 6, and we'll probably be here in May saying exactly the same things.
I look forward to that. Did Amorim say anything about the players and whether anyone would be back for that game against Leeds?
He said he doesn't know, and he said he's not going to risk it with any players. He's not going to risk trying to rush anyone back early. So, unfortunately, there will be no Harry Maguire, big header at the back post and knee slide celebration. It feels weird not having him for this game. Harry Maguire being injured this often is quite odd because he was such an ever-present when he first arrived. This is going to be just agricultural smash-mouth football. During the last international break, I did a round table with some other writers from The Athletic, and one of the questions we got asked was which manager's most likely to get the sack. And I looked at Leeds' fixtures and went, oh, good luck, Mr. Fuck. And I'm really surprised at how well he's turned things around without making too many massive changes tactically. Back three.
Switched to 3 at the back.
Yeah, he switched to 3 at the back, which Calvert-Lewin is such an unusual striker in that he has, I'd say, 7 out of 10 things you want, except his finishing is often right. He's really good at the back post. I remember Carlo Ancelotti saying when they were together at Everton, he worked really, really hard on Calvert-Lewin's first and second, sort of one-touch finishes and two-touch finishes, which he does a lot of things where if you give him 4 or 5 touches of the ball, it's a bit weird. So I hope he has another bit weird one. But this is going to be a big game for Aiden Heaven, I reckon. I said before in the last episode that Heaven's right now on the right side of dangerous. He's got to get it just right in a game like that because the referees are going to be watching. The crowd's going to be on your back. You don't want to get a booking really, really early on. So good luck to him. Good luck for Ugarte as well. He's going to be into a lot of tackles and need to snap into it. Anton Stach is a midfielder Leeds bought this summer, really, really tall. He came up 3 or 4 times in my sort of data polls when I went shopping for Amorim. And he's slowly getting there too. He takes quite a few of their corners. Yeah, work on your set pieces and just start beating them up in a nice way. Be clever thugs if you're going to be thugs.
I think that aggression that's going to be inevitably be a part of the game could actually play into United's hands. Because when it's intensity, when there's chaos, this team seems to work within it.
They need the other team to come and have a go.
That's it. That's what I was saying before about the Bournemouth, about the Villa, about the Newcastle games. And I think that's the pattern that we've established again tonight and again against Everton and West Ham. I think it actually suits them, and I hope it's absolutely tipping it down. I hope the atmosphere is properly
It will be, mate.
visceral. Well, it usually is there. I mean, I didn't go to the one. What was the last one? I think it was 2-0 in Ten Hag's first season. I was looking at that game today. I was like, I don't even remember this game.
Like when Garnacho scored near the end.
Garnacho
Ronaldo
scored.
did the interview or released the interview that night, I think.
No, that was Fulham. That was Fulham.
Oh, was that Fulham?
That was before the World Cup. But
those two games against teams in white have just merged into one in my head.
Garnacho scoring against a team in white away from home that season. I think you're all right on that one. It's an easy mistake to make. I just want it to be that sort of game because I feel like that's what United work within now, and we've come to expect that from this team, and I think it will be, and so that might play into their
I
hands.
want a bit more Acuna against Leeds.
I thought he was disappointing tonight, to be honest.
He was. The 2 or 3 bits in the second half, especially for me, where I felt like he was more interested in trying to win a free kick than moving the ball. And look, sometimes it's a good release valve. If you run down a corridor, if you can fall down the right way, you can get a free kick. But there was a time when I was watching Anthony Martial doing that, and towards the end of Martial's fit career for United, I'm going, no, stand up, do something with the ball, please, instead. And I want Cunha to do something with the ball. I want more. We keep talking about him and that he's got the above-shoulders temperament and mentality of a Manchester United player. Give me some goals. Give me some assists. Give me some proper rattling and thump the badge after you've scored really early on. Come on. I need more, please.
The only way we can finish our final podcast of 2025 is to have an Andy Mitten rallying call for 2026. Take it away, Mr. Mitten.
So I've just gone to my computer there and I've received an email from Leeds United. Very nervous because they rejected me at the start of the season to their Everton game, but their first home game. Says, Mr. Mitten, your request to attend the game between Leeds United and Manchester United has been accepted. Please bear in mind that in Yorkshire we now have electricity. So you've got lights inside the stadium and we've got running water in toilets. I'm going nowhere with this, am I?
Apart from getting that offer revoked, I imagine,
Yeah, no, I think Leeds is a really good city, actually. And it's a one-city club.
This isn't a rallying cry.
No, it's not a rallying cry. If any Manchester United players are listening to this, right, because they probably don't realise the rivalry. You are not going to know what hits you when you walk out at Elland Road, when your team coach arrives on them tight little streets when you come off the motorway, the M621, we've got a motorway here now with 3 lanes, cars can go 70 miles per hour. Don't know why I'm using a Lancashire accent when it's in Yorkshire.
I'm offended.
I'm sorry, mate, I'm sounding like Critch here, aren't I, when he's with his mates. Talking about how they slice the bread now. Sorry. So, my head's gone. It's a really, really, really big game. It means a huge amount to Manchester United and Leeds United supporters. A repeat of that tonight will not be acceptable. There's 2,700 Reds who are travelling over there. 30,000 Reds would love to be over there. You've just got to turn up. You've done it so far this season when it's been least expected. Let's start 2026 where the sun will rise in this great kingdom of Manchester United. Wouldn't it be great if it starts to rise over West Yorkshire and it sets at the end of the season with a European finish onwards and upwards into next season. Leeds go down. Actually, I want them to stay up, but I want them to lose the next game.
We got there in the end, didn't we? Andy, thank you. Critch, thank you. Carl, thank you as well. For anyone listening or watching the graphic on YouTube, I'm sorry it's a graphic again, but it's that time of year where things are a bit needs must, and it's needs must for Manchester United as they head to Elland Road as well. But thank you everyone for listening this long. Thank you for all your support across 2025. Happy New Year. Let's hope it is one for Manchester United. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Take care. Don't drink too much. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching this episode of Talk the Devils. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you've not done already, like the video, and also get involved in the comments too, and click the bell to make sure that you never miss an episode with myself, Andy Mitten, Carl Anker, and Laurie Whitwell. There's also our social channels at TOT Devils on Instagram, X, and TikTok. Thanks for watching.